Well, hi there. It is almost 2 in the morning and several hours past time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and let's shit in the box. I forgot to put beer in the fridge. So I have some ginseng and pomegranate drink from Korea and about 6 ounces of vodka. Just frankly excessive. But I have had a day. I've been busy. And one of the things I've been busy with is a few days ago, on the 21st of the month specifically, the game Disfigure, which is, let me give a quick check at the store page so I can no. Cold Brew Entertainment has released this game called Disfigure about 3 years ago, and they released it for free, and I downloaded it for free, and it was okay. I mean, it is a fairly decent game. It's a Vampire Survivors clone. It has an interesting mechanic dealing with darkness, where you can only see in this fairly small circle around your character, and they also have a feature where you can switch from the circle around your character to a cone in front of your character. Now, if you're moving forward, the cone is fine. But if you move to the side or backwards, that's a problem because you can't see what's behind you. And because you can't see what's behind you, you can run into shit. This bites me in the arse more than I care to think about. But the thing about Disfigure is, I don't really remember the state it launched in because I didn't come to it immediately. It had been out for months at least, possibly over a year, because I know I didn't get it. Well, wait a minute. You can sort by date added to library, can't you? Yeah, date added to library. Disfigure I picked up on December 2nd of 2024. So that's cool. But yeah, so like a little more than a year after I picked up Starfield. Anyway. So I just got caught up looking at like when I picked stuff up and going, I've been playing that longer than I thought. I haven't been playing that as long as I thought. And just immediate distraction. Because that's how I am. Anyway, I don't really remember the state that it launched in because it was a year and a half ago. Is it a year and a half? 25, yeah, almost 2 years. I'm getting a hum. There's definitely a humming sound over here. Oh, it's not coming from the speakers. It's coming from somewhere else. And the mic isn't picking it up, so I don't care. Where is it coming from? Oh. It's coming from the heater. That might not be good. Anyway, the thing about Disfigure is, and let me switch over to it here. so we can have a look at what was going on with it. And number one, I was looking at a lot of different games. I was looking at how their menus are structured. Disfigure is pretty basic. It's just a menu. None of the menus are particularly complex. They're just kind of there. So it shouldn't be that big. It shouldn't be stressing me out so much to try and make my menus look good. My menus are fine. I can just leave them the way they are. But I do want some kind of distinctive look to them. If you look at Disfigure, it's got kind of this dotted grid behind everything, and the menu options highlight when you hover over them, and they click over because it's got the little carrot thing that sticks at the beginning. And they also make a little clicky sound that you may not be able to hear. Yeah, you definitely can't hear that because it's not showing up on the microphone. Anyway, the thing I was really fascinated by, the thing that, well, not fascinated, but the thing I was really kind of paying attention to and going, is how everything is laid out. Because when you look at the upgrades that are available, because Disfigure was out for 3 years in a kind of early access playtesting state, there are all of these upgrades, 33 of them, in fact. There are 33 upgrades. Each of them has 7 levels. Each of them has 2 tracks, has a top track and a bottom track. And part of the issue is that because there are so many of them, it's hard to really get used to them. Like looking down these, if I start all the way up at the beginning, I've used Bleed. I've used all of them. But I don't find Bleed or Blight Decay or Blind Shot. I don't find any of these compelling until you get to Bulk Rounds. Bulk Rounds is all about improving your damage. Burn, it's okay, I guess. Callisto Current, I don't really understand the specific utility of Callisto Current. I mean, I've used it, it's okay. I just don't really know why you would pick that over something else. Charged rounds I have used a lot. The problem I have with it is that when you look at some of the upper levels, they really decrease your fire rate. And there are good things and bad things to be seen here, and one of them is that just looking at the stats, okay, the dramatic decrease in your fire rate from charged rounds up at the top levels, that makes it something you need to think about all the way up at the beginning. Because you start out with a decrease in your fire rate, and then you get a couple of other decreases in the fire rate as you go, but then you get this big one at the end. And it's the same kind of thing with other stuff, but sometimes you get something that Doom rounds I don't really get the point of. All of this stuff that decreases your fire rate, I'm really not fond of that, because your fire rate is important. It's really, really important. Now, Doom rounds look to me, because they have a specific buff for the flamethrower, that looks like something you'd want to use with the flamethrower. But because there are so many of these, I only really know how to use a few of them. I use bulk rounds. Bulk rounds is really important, okay? That's like critical to every build that I do. And you come down farther, I used to use flashbangs a lot, now I just use Gleam. Guided Missile was a good friend of mine for a long time. I use Light Target a lot. And I use Quick Draw. Radiation used to be really good, now not so much. But I've got these 33 different things that I can upgrade, and I only care about a few of them. There are a couple of must-haves, like with swiftness. You get this one that collects experience for you if you just get it into your vision circle. That's tremendously useful. Similarly, there's the slowed projectiles, projectile deflection, and meet your maker. These are absolutely essential. Like, you have to have these. You have to have Meet Your Maker. Meet Your Maker is absolutely positively necessary. Projectile deflection is cool, I guess. But yeah, that really doesn't that doesn't do as much as Meet Your Maker. There are certain projectiles that you cannot deflect, and Meet Your Maker will still destroy them. But again, that is 3 steps down the upgrade line instead of 2. This is really well designed. And the thing that makes this really well designed is when you have kind of a trade-off, it's actually a trade-off. It's something you need to think about. It's not, oh, well, that's obvious. Well, I obviously need to take that. I obviously projectile deflection because, it's just as good as Meet Your Maker, but Meet Your Maker is farther down the line. No, it's not just as good as Meet Your Maker. There are projectiles that are destroyed by Meet Your Maker that can't be deflected by projectile deflection. And there is a trade-off with that, which is you use Meet Your Maker, you don't get to deflect the projectiles. They don't get to run off and do damage, which is where you get your projectile split, which kind of adds that back in. This is a really well-designed upgrade, and it fits together very well. It's also absolutely essential because as you get farther into the game, you're going to be faced with a whole lot of projectiles, and you're going to need to either dodge them or do something about them. One of the most frustrating things for me playing any level in hard mode is having to deal with projectiles and a boss at the same time. But I just hate boss battles, so a lot of that is just me. The other thing that's absolutely necessary is swiftness, obviously. Now, swiftness is absolutely necessary because of the experience gathering, but also because up along this top level, you get the speed increases. And those speed increases are really helpful. I would find this especially interesting. It would be something worth playing with. And I don't know if they ever did play with this, because I just kind of casually looked at it and went, oh, for over a year. Because it was okay. It was okay. It was nothing that special. It was nothing that great. And then when they did the 1.0 update, and I went back and said, okay, they updated to 1.0. They said, okay, this is good. This is done. And I came back and I looked at what they had done. And I went, oh, shit, that's good. The stuff they did here is really, really good. A lot of these upgrades, if I just pick one at random, like if I come up here and I grab... not singularity, I use that a lot. Let's go ricochet rounds. Now, ricochet rounds is another of those things that I don't use because it reduces your fire rate a lot. But with ricochet rounds, you have bullets ricocheting towards nearby enemies, and this improves your melee damage. That immediately gives you a reason to take this if you have a melee weapon. You've got an additional increase to melee damage, makes it useful again. And you have the damage increase, and then as you come upward, you get these additional benefits and bonuses. And down here on the bottom, you have up here you have it's doing more damage. It's increasing your damage, and you come down here, and it has there are more ricochets. The bullets can ricochet more often. Up here is power, and down here is speed. And that's a good layout. There's a theme to each track on this upgrade. I think it would be interesting. I was about to say this, but I've been drinking. It would be interesting if you picked one of the upgrade paths and you couldn't follow the other one. Like once you pick deadly ricochets, death ricochets never shows up. So once you pick one of these two paths, you're committed to that path and only that path. Maybe just until you get the max ricochet, and then you can get the death ricochet again. But it would be interesting to see how that works. But when you complicate things, you have to explain them to people. Explaining things to people is often difficult. Also, it's when you're in the middle of playing an action game like this, and you go, hey, let me explain how upgrades work. Everybody's like, shut up. Let me play your fucking game, dude. So you can't do that kind of thing. You have to have those explanations off in another screen. Like, when I'm playing the game, I don't look at what stuff does. I don't pay attention to that. I don't stop in the middle of my level and go, what's the right upgrade? I just go, yeah, that one looks good. Yeah, that one looks good. Let me get back to killing shit. That's important. I think most people are like that. I think most people, as they're playing the game, just want to, like, grab the thing that looks cool. So they're looking at the icons. The icons are really well designed. That's something I need to put some thought into, is what the icons for different weapons and upgrades look like in my game, because I don't really have any of those yet. I have some ideas. You know, one of the big things is weapon selection. Now, as you can see, I've been just kind of working my way through. I have my favorite weapon, which is the minigun, of course. And then up at the top, you got the pistol. I've just been kind of working my way down. The pistol, the shotgun, the sniper, working them all the way up to diamond level. Here's the problem with this kind of thing. We've got 20 different weapons, and we've got a... we have in the quests menu, you have master every single ability. Take every ability all the way up to the top. And then you have unlock all of the different weapons. Unlock all 20 weapons. Once you've unlocked all 20 weapons, then it's reach level 10 with each weapon. Reach level 20 with each weapon. Reach level 30 with each weapon. And it just becomes this checklist. And then you have the number of kills with each weapon again. And I'm not going to complain too overly about this, because, you know, this sort of checklist, it's not organized very well. I would like to see this organized, because we have like 5 or 6 for each weapon. What do we have? We got 3 different kills. We got 3 different upgrades. We've got winning a match. We've got winning a match on hard. Win a match on hard. Do all of the upgrades, which is, it's just get to level 30 3 times on 3 different runs and select different upgrades on every weapon. And all of this stuff, you pack it all up into one thing after another, after another, after another, and then you have the golden weapon skin with each of them, and you have the ruby weapon skin with each of them, and you have the diamond weapon skin with each of them. And then you have the different difficulties on each of the maps. You've got maps 2 and 3 unlocking. You've got maps 1, 2, and 3 completed on Nightmare and on Hard. And then you've got high scores, the 1, 2, and 3 million. This stuff is not organized very well. Most of it is just a checklist of do all of this stuff with all of the weapons, which is good because it gives you a whole lot of stuff to do, but at the same time, you know, you've got 20 different weapons, and each of these weapons, it's like, for every single weapon, you have to go through the game 3 times, at least 3 times, to get all 9 of the perks. You have to go through the game 4 times to get all of the weapon skins. Now, you can you can stack those on top of each other. And you can go, well, that's 4 times through the game with each of those. But on top of that, you have win the game on hard, win the game on nightmare. And that kind of checklist thing, especially when winning the game in the first place, you're going to have to go through with each weapon several times the first time you do it. After you've done it with one weapon, you could probably go through it with most different weapons. It's just a question of, like with the knife. I've done some runs with the knife. I don't really like it that much, but it's there. When you view this whole set of things as a checklist, it's not fun. When you look at it as, I have options, and you could try something out and go, I don't like that, and then not do it, that's fine. The problem is, and Jonathan Blow said this, and I don't always like agreeing with Jonathan Blow. He's not one of my favorite people, but like he said, it's once you put a counter on it, it becomes a chore. And when you make something into a chore, that's not fun. It's not fun to add chores to your game and say there's a thing that I have to do. But unfortunately, there's a reality of releasing your game on Steam. And that reality is Steam will boost your game based on how much people are playing it. If people are putting a lot of hours into your game, Steam will push your game, which is one of the reasons that you'll find games like... The big one for me is Soda Dungeon. I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Soda Dungeon. Not because I wanted to, but because progress in the game involves leaving the game run on your screen. It's the same with Grim Clicker, okay? Grim Clicker, it just sits there and runs on your screen, and every once in a while you go in and you go upgrade this, upgrade this, upgrade this, upgrade this. Okay, we're done. That's not really fun. And I've put almost 2,000 hours into Grim Clicker, but most of that is just letting it run on the screen and not actually doing anything with it. If you're gaming Steam to try and get promotion for your game, that's not bad. How much does Grim Clicker cost? Does it cost anything? Oh no, let's it's down in Clicker Games, I'm sure. Grim Clicker store page. Let's have a look at the store page. It's free. And it has in-app purchases. And it gets boosted because people play it for extended periods of time. That's a valid sales strategy. That's a valid marketing idea that you can use. So the thing is, well, actually, there was some other stuff I wanted to go over here. When you look at the play screen, you've got all of your different weapons, okay? If you've been playing this all the way from the beginning, and you started out with like 5 weapons, and then it became 10, and then it became 20, it's not as overwhelming as looking at this and going, well, each of these has 9 perks and 4 different skins. So at the very least, I need to play. You can't do 2 skins at once, okay? So at the very least, I need to play this game all the way through to the end 80 times to try all of the weapons and to get them all up to the diamond skin. Your power-ups. Obviously, I have all of the power-ups. But you can also see that getting all of the power-ups only required me to finish up 4 of the weapons. So that's good. I didn't have to do them all to max this out. But then you've got your mutations. You've got 39 different mutations, and you can only use 5 in a given run, which means that is at least 8 complete 5 boss runs to test all of the different things. And as you can see, I'm only using stuff for the top row anyway. I actually have them in order, so they show up in the order that I want to take them. The first one I want to take, gain 10% bullet damage for every minute that passes from now on. Oh, hell yeah. Take that after your first boss. End of story. Bullet damage is reduced by 50%, but damage dealt through any upgrades is increased by 80%. I like this. It doesn't really matter where in the run you take it. I mean, it's like take it where you need it. Then it's gain 2 full hearts, but movement speed is decreased by 20%. And then it's for each full heart you currently have, plus 20% bullet damage, minus 4% movement speed. There is one other thing that I have in there, and that is right at the end, heal fully up to your current max health or gain an extra heart if already full. That is if I'm having a bad run. If I'm having a bad run and I'm not really doing well on full hearts, I will take agility. But ultimately, I take behemoth. I will take agility instead of tank if I have taken some damage. If I have taken 2 damage, then I will take agility instead of tank. But you can see that the experience gain is reduced on this. One of the interesting things about experience gain on games like this is that because the amount of experience necessary for the next level is typically at or around twice what it was for the previous level, reducing your experience gain by 50% is basically you have 1 less level. It's not that much. It's really not. And like if you work it out, it's actually more than 1 level because you got everything added up as you go up. But it's only like 1 or 2 levels if you reduce by 50%, and that's something I typically abuse in game mechanics. Is you can reduce the experience you get in a level an outrageous amount, and it really doesn't make that big a difference in the end. But holy shit, does it make the average player go, "Do I want to do that? I don't know, man. That sounds real." I mean, if I take that, that's a 75% reduction in experience. It's not that big a deal. It's like 2 levels. It's not huge, okay? This pomegranate doesn't really go well with vodka. It needs an additional flavor. It needs more flavor to it. I bet it'd be better with rum. Rum would probably be good. Rum goes well with sweet, acidic things. Vodka tends to go better with lighter flavors. Because if you use a light flavor with vodka, it becomes a lighter flavor. And if you use a powerful flavor with vodka, it becomes a light flavor. So, I don't know. I'll experiment a little. Probably not tonight. Oh my God. My count is off on the beer. I've been drinking 3 beers a week, every week, for like a year, and now I have an extra beer in the fridge. Whatever am I going to do? Not that big a deal. I'm rambling here. But the purpose of my rambling on this is to say, this is the way I think about upgrades. This is the way I think about how people go through the game. And on the one hand, I want there to be enough stuff going through the game, but on the other, if you go to the discussion forums for this game on Steam, there was a guy, and I've been playing this game for not quite 2 years, okay? And there was a guy who has apparently like just started playing it, who's losing his fucking mind about map 3. And he's like, this is bullshit. This is not fair. And I've played map 3. Haven't beaten it on hard yet. I play the game pretty much. I play it on normal difficulty most of the time, and I play it on easy when I'm trying to get through, when I'm trying to crank through challenges. Because, I mean, let's face it, playing it on easy makes cranking through challenges. If you're playing on normal or on hard, your decisions matter. Whereas if you play on easy, yeah, I can take this bullshit upgrade and it doesn't matter. And you have to do that a lot. You have to do that, first of all, for the checklist. You got to finish off all... You got to finish off all 33 different paths. You got to do all of them. I don't like that being an achievement. I don't like that being a challenge. I don't like that having a reward. But that's the way a lot of games work, is to kind of, they make it a checklist. You have to go through all 20 weapons 3 times to get all of the perks, 4 times to get all of the skins. You have to beat the game on hard mode and on nightmare mode. And you can see from the achievements, beating the game is one achievement, and beating it on hard mode, well, beating a level on beating it on normal is one quest. Beating it on hard is another one. I mean, actually, I think, well, I've done everything on normal, so I can't actually test that. Huh. That was an oversight. Anyway, beating the game on hard and beating the game on nightmare are separate achievements, so that at the very least is 2 times through each level. So you put all of that together, and it's like, if you're absolutely perfect, if you play this game perfectly, if you never need to retry a level ever, then every single one of these weapons requires you to play through the game 3 times. 4 times, actually. You got to play through 4 times. You got to do once for each weapon skin, because you can't unlock the challenges until you do one of them. And you have to beat every single level. Well, hold on. It's 6 times. You have to beat all 3 levels on hard. You have to beat all 3 levels on nightmare. And that's 6 times through the game with every single one of these weapons. That is 120 runs, because there's 20 weapons. That is 120 runs through the game. And each of them takes an entire half hour. More than a half hour, because it's at the half hour mark that the last boss shows up. So that is upwards of 60 hours of gameplay. You have to put in 60 hours of gameplay. If you're perfect coming out of the gate, you have to play the game for 60 hours just to round out the checklist. And chances are you're not perfect coming out of the gate, so you have to do like what I'm doing, which is to go through and to do all 4 of the weapon skins. That's 4 times through the game. And I'm doing that on easy mode, and that leaves you with that still leaves you with 3 hours for each weapon of going through each level on hard and nightmare. And I've got all of the upgrades. I've got every single upgrade on all of the weapons, or on the entire game. All of the power-ups, I've got them. I've got them all. That is an immense quantity of time just to kind of checklist the game. And I think, let me take a look here. I think the way the I think the way the achievements are structured, yeah, it's almost certainly, yeah. So, it is, again, hard mode and nightmare mode. Unlock everything, complete each map on hard mode and nightmare mode. What the hell? There's something. Complete each map on hard mode and nightmare mode, and beat the game on hard mode with every single weapon. And that's just to finish out the game. That's just to finish out the checklist. It's not playing the game. But because when you make something achievements, you say this is the way to play the game. You say this is what you're supposed to be doing to play the game. And on the one hand, I understand games that go, just play the game. Unlock all of the weapons, finish all of the levels. Unlock all the weapons, unlock all the characters, finish all the levels. That gives you achievements. You have to ask yourself, what are achievements for? We have here a game that essentially requires you complete it at least 120 times. And because completing the Diamond Mode Challenge with some weapons is something you're not going to do on Nightmare Mode, you're going to do a bunch of these more than 3 times. Like, every single weapon I've got here, okay? I'm going to complete the game at least 10 times with it. So that's 5 hours per weapon. That's 100 hours. That is 100 hours of productive gameplay on top of every time things fuck up. Which, to be fair, they typically fuck up in the first 5 minutes. I haven't even tried most of these weapons. But I've tried the knife. I've tried the twin katanas. I've tried, what's the other one I've tried? I tried the Akimbo SMGs and the saw launcher. The saw launcher is I thought the saw launcher is going to be badass. It kind of fucking sucks. I don't know. I guess I have to go in and play it some more. And this is kind of, when I look at how everything is structured in this game, where they go, it is a checklist. You need to finish with every gun on the list. This is the kind of weapon structure I want in my game. Filthy Pervert Stole My Panties is supposed to have 10 weapons that like match the initial 10 characters, and then an additional 10 weapons that are found on the different levels. So you've got the 10 characters and the 10 levels, and everybody has their little, like, 2 weapons. Because everybody has their native level. Everybody starts out, this is the weapon you start with, and here is the weapon that's in the level that you start out being able to access. So that's kind of 2 weapons. I'm not sure how I want to structure the upgrades in this game. And I'm thinking about lots of different stuff. And on the one hand, you look at Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors solves this problem of you open up the game, you click play, and it's just overwhelmed. It's just like, look at all these fucking weapons. You got to unlock all of these weapons. Most of the weapons in this column are 50,000. Most of the weapons in this column are 100,000. Then you get toward the end, they're 200,000. And then all the way at the end here, the grenade launcher is 250, and the flamethrower is 500,000. I have never played a game with the flamethrower. You can kind of tell, because if you look at this, I mean, it's like, even if the weapon is stupid and sucks, I'm gonna get to level 10 with it. I mean, I have played this game enough that if I don't make it to level 10, I must have been really fucking drunk. It's not that hard a game. There's a guy on the discussion forums who is saying, hey, map 3 is bullshit. And he's right. It is bullshit. But what you were supposed to learn in the first map was projectile deflection is mandatory as you get to the later parts of the game. And what you were supposed to learn in map 2 is, meet your maker is better than projectile deflection. And what you're supposed to learn in map 3 is projectile deflection is dick. You need meet your maker. That's the upgrade you need. Fuck all the rest of that shit. And also, meet your maker isn't going to cover everything. There's a lot of bullshit in map 3. But going through map 3 and I was actually trying to show you something on this screen, and the screen isn't visible. What I was trying to show you was it shows you down here in the corner which perks you've unlocked with each weapon. If you look at the knife, I don't really like the knife, but I got to level 20 with it. Okay? I really don't like the twin katanas, but I got to level 10 with them. And it's the same thing with everything. If I haven't got at least one of the perks with the weapon, then I haven't played with it. And as you go through all of the various stuff, it's like, I really did not do well with the akimbo SMGs, but I did get to level 10 with them. And the saw launcher is kind of bullshit, but I got to level 20 with it. Everything else I basically haven't used. I've used the first 3 weapons here. I've used the pistol, the shotgun, and the sniper rifle. I've used the saw launcher extensively. It's not very good. Although, I used the saw launcher when I was just starting out. The one that I really like is the minigun. The minigun is just, I fucking love the minigun because I am a huge fan of cover the battlefield with lead. I fucking love that. That's my fucking jam right there. It is just wall of bullets. Fucking love it. Pink mist everywhere. Yes! That is my shit. I love doing that in GTA Online. You go in GTA Online and it's just like, okay, here's a room full of enemies. Okay, minigun. I love that. It works so well. It's so nice. It really is. But, I'm not doing a great job explaining this. If you have stuck with me this far, fucking good job, man. I am drunk as shit. So, you have watched me go through 4 ounces of liquor in half an hour, so. You know I'm fucking hammered. Anybody be fucking hammered after this shit. Anyway, okay. So, the thing I'm looking at with the upgrades in my game, the thing I'm looking at with what I want to do, and what I'm really kind of trying to get at here, what I'm trying to talk about, what I'm trying to focus on, and I can't, because I've been drinking. My videos can serve as a cautionary tale to anybody that is thinking about taking up drinking as a hobby. This is where that ends up. You can't speak coherently about any topic, about any subject. On the other hand, to digress for a moment, my friend Jason Moffat did a thing he calls the Truth Serum Report. And the Truth Serum Report is basically, go to a convention, Meet people who are in your industry, take them to the bar, and buy their drinks. All their drinks. Let them drink as much as they want, and you pay for it. And what you'll find is that when people start drinking, first of all, if you offer somebody free drinks, they're like, oh, fuck yeah, free drinks! And they will drink and drink and drink and drink, especially at a convention. There's a difference with women, I've noticed. Women treat conventions as work, men treat conventions as play. We're now like 3 levels deep on this. When you go to a convention, women think you're still at work. The convention is work, okay? So you need to treat the women at the convention the way you treat women at work. If you don't, well, woke 1.0, you get fucking canceled. Which is fine. It's just, when I go to a convention, I want to get laid, man. I mean, that's me. That's the way I feel about it. I mean, it's the guy thing. Guys go to a convention. Conventions are play. We go to a convention. The convention is where you play. It's not where you're not working at the convention. It's play at the convention. You pretend to be working during the day at the convention, but you're there to play. Women at business conventions are not there to play. They are there to work. This is their work. This is their job. Be professional. Very fucking annoying. That's the last marketing convention I went to. I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm going to the anime convention. And the next morning, everybody was like, the first day we were there, they had this party. It was a good party, okay? It was a great fucking party, because they had like a bunch of rap groups. They had Flavor Flav. I get to meet Flavor Flav. Flavor Flav, a Public fucking Enemy. Holy shit, dude! So I met Flavor Flav. I met Tone Loc. I didn't meet Tone Loc. Tone Loc was there. Tone Loc was there, Rob Bass was there, and somebody else. Was there somebody else? I know Tone Loc was there, because he did Funky Cold Medina for a long fucking time. Tone Loc has 2 songs. He has Wild Thing and Funky Cold Medina. That's fucking it. Nobody cares about anything else in his catalog. Just like Rob Bass has It Takes Two. That's the only thing in his catalog. Rob Bass brought a DJ. It was not DJ Easy Rock, okay? I knew that. He's just some no-name motherfucker. But holy shit, the man could fucking rock a turntable. He was incredible. The guy was great. Anyway, I digress. This show was fucking cool. There's only one problem. I'm the only man dancing. Nobody else is dancing. Everybody else is hanging out on the side of the room, which means I get all the women to myself. But it also means you very quickly pick up on none of these women want to fuck. Well, the good news is we were in the same hotel as Hanadoki-Con, an anime convention. And chicks at anime conventions definitely want to fuck. And everybody was like asking me. They're like, "Man, once the show's over, once like everything wound up, we had a freestyle rap competition. We were expecting you to get in on it. Where were you, man?" I was fucking a Pokemon. I met somebody dressed as an Espeon over in the anime convention. I didn't know it was an Espeon at the time. It was a fucking purple thing with 4 tails. And I took the person in that costume back to my hotel room, and I didn't know what was inside it. Surprise! We had a good time. And everybody's like, "Man, why weren't you in the freestyle rap competition?" Because I was fucking a Pokemon, that's why. It's like a gotcha game. It's a blind box. It's a surprise mechanics. Hey, you're kind of cute. I like your attitude. You're dressed in a costume. I have no idea what's inside. You want to come back to my room? Woohoo! I was happy with what I found in that costume. That's all you need to know. Because people who go to anime conventions are there to live out fantasies. And people who go to marketing conventions are there to do business and make money. Anyway, guys treat conventions as like not work, and women treat conventions as work. So you can take a man, not a woman, you can take a man to the bar at a convention. We're going to back up one level. This is the Zygarnik effect. I'm keeping you in this using open loops. You can take a man to the bar and you could say, hey, order whatever you want. I got this. Put him on my tab. Guys will drink. Oh my fucking God, they will drink. And when a man drinks, he becomes the real person that he is. Like, you may not be aware, I'm a guy who fucks Pokemon. When a man drinks, he will show you who he really is. So if you want to know the real secrets of marketing or of any business or of anything at all, okay, you take a guy who knows those things and you go, come here, come to the bar. I will buy you all the drinks you want. You can drink as much as you want for as long as you want. You just order any fucking thing. I got it. It's on me. People will order more drinks. They will drink more drinks. And because they order more drinks and drink more drinks, they will get drunk. Like I am. You know I'm fucking drunk. Well, you don't know. You don't know, because a lot of YouTubers and like people who make videos and people who go, hey, look, I'm getting really fucking drunk. They will get something non-alcoholic, like, I don't know, some iced tea or some shit. And they will tell you it's a drink. And they will sit there and drink it. But it's not alcoholic. And they will pretend they're getting drunk. If you got a good eye, you can tell the difference. I'm not going to try to prove that I'm actually fucked up. Because if you know what you're looking at, you know what I look like when I'm drunk. You know how I look, how I behave. I'll bet my beer is cold. Hold up. Pause. Oh yeah, that feels cold. Well, the glass feels cold. Let's see about the beer on the inside. There's an old saying, beer before liquor, never been sicker, liquor before beer, you're in the clear. So, this should not be a problem. And you know it's true. It's true. If you get hammered on beer and then you go, let's do shots, you will wake up in the morning and you will vomit your fucking guts out. But if you do a bunch of shots and then say, fuck it, I'll have a beer. I don't know what happens if you do a sandwich. I've never done that. Usually if I drink a bunch of beer and then drink a bunch of liquor, I black out and I pass out and there's no opportunity to go, I should drink some beer so I don't get sick in the morning. Really, you should drink some water. That's the thing. Beer is mostly water. Oh, yes, there we go. Whew. I love Jubal Ale. This is not a sponsored video, but Deschutes Brewery's Jubal Ale is fantastic. And we are finally hitting the time of year when it's going to hit shelves again. I love this so much. I bought like 8 cases of this last year to make sure I would still have it all year long. I have paced myself drinking Jubal Ale all year long because it's so good. It is a fantastic, it's a crisp, delicious winter ale. It's made with hard winter wheat. And I fucking love it. It is great. When my son tried it, he said, it has no flavor at all. It's just bitter. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I like about it. It's just pure, crisp. It's cold and it's clear and it's bitter. It's hoppy, is what a lot of people call it, and I really like that. It's very, very good. Anyway, if you get somebody if you buy somebody a whole lot of liquor. You buy somebody as many drinks as they want. They will drink and drink and drink and drink. They will get really fucking drunk. And the thing is, when you get drunk, the real you comes out and you're fucking honest. You say the things you really think. You say the things you really believe. Like, women at conventions don't want to fuck. That's reality. That's experience. I've been to a lot of conventions. You go to a convention, you go to a work convention, you meet the women there. Generally speaking, they don't want to fuck. So, just be professional. Treat them professionally. Similarly, guys at conventions, they're fucking around, taking to the bar, buy them a bunch of drinks. And because you've bought them a bunch of drinks, you want to know the secrets of your profession? You want to know how things really work in your industry? You get them drunk. I do this on purpose. I get drunk on camera on purpose because if I get drunk, I'm going to say everything I say is going to be true. You can't lie when you're drunk. You can't tell fucking lies when you're drunk because your brain can't keep the story straight. It's going to fuck everything up. And you're going, that's not the, sorry, I made a mistake there. Whatever you can talk about confidently when you are heavily intoxicated is the truth. That's why alcohol is better than weed, because when you're fucking high, you don't tell the truth. That's important. That's a thing. That is very much a thing. People who smoke weed are fabulists. They make things up. They come up with stuff. They go, oh, man, I understand the cosmic truth of the universe, dude. No, you don't. You made some shit up in your head. No, man, here's how stuff really works. They just make shit up. I cannot count the number of people that I've been talking to when they're high, and they go, you know what you should do, man? You should make a car that runs on water. Man, could you imagine if you had a car that ran on water instead of on gasoline? Oh, man. You'd ruin the whole big oil thing, just like all at once, man. Yeah, we have that. We have that. We have cars that run on water. We have cars, well, what we have is we have cars that run on hydrogen, because you could take water and you could decompose it with electrolysis into hydrogen and oxygen. And the oxygen can be safely released into the atmosphere, and the hydrogen can be collected and pressurized into a tank, and you can put it into a vehicle, and you can burn it and use it for fuel. We've done that since the 19th century. Well, how come you can't buy a car like that, man? Did you ever hear of the Hindenburg? And it's not actually that bad, okay? Hydrogen-powered cars are very much a thing. That's very much something that you can run a car on, and it's no more dangerous in the car than it is just like I mean, gasoline's explosive. Hydrogen's marginally more explosive, but not that much more explosive. See how I keep going off on tangents? See how I keep going off on one tangent after another after another? Let's back up, backtrack. Okay, so Jason Moffat wrote the Truth Serum Report, and the Truth Serum Report says if you get people drunk, they will tell you the truth. And I do that on purpose because I want you to know that I'm telling the truth, or at the very least that I'm telling you what I really believe, which may not be the truth. If you don't know the truth, you can't speak the truth. You ever notice that? Anyway, I've been drinking. And I will keep drinking for a while. That's the dangerous thing about drinking is that you start to really, really like it. Do you know, pretty much every species on the planet has found out some way to intoxicate itself. Every animal knows how to get itself drunk, and it will fucking do it. There's some animal or other, I don't remember the details, but it knocks its head on a rock until it's dizzy and can't think straight, and then it stumbles around and falls over. It's intoxicating itself because it's fun, and they all do it. It's ridiculous. But intoxication is fun. Don't overdo it, but it's fun. Anyway. I was trying to get at something with this whole, I was trying to get at something here, and I don't remember what it was. I don't remember all the way at the outside of the loop. I apologize. That's going to leave a lot of people unhappy. But what I'm ultimately thinking about, looking at this game, looking at all of the stuff in this game, I'm thinking about how do I want people to feel about my game and its levels and its characters? Do I want it to be a checklist and a chore? Some people like checklists and chores. There is, if you go into, what was it? I think it was Halls of Torment. Let me go check real quick. It was a Vampire Survivors clone. I think it was Halls of Torment. Yeah, Halls of Torment has 500 achievements, and I've unlocked all of them. The balancing act that you want is, on the one hand, there are people who like this. There are people who like the checklist. But when I look at Disfigure and the available weapons in Disfigure, okay? I don't go, I want to try, I want to achieve everything with all of them. What I do is I go, ooh, I want to try these and find my favorite. Well, I found my favorite. It's the minigun. I like the minigun. The minigun works well. I like running the minigun on 169. Is it 169? No, there's something I run on 169. What do I run on 169? It's the shotgun. The shotgun with the bullet choke that reduces bullet spread. And then the double barrel that fires an extra burst every time you fire. And then the bird shots that fires 6 more bullets. So it's just like you reduce your bullet spread and then you double your bullet amount and then you shoot 10 bullets at once. It's like, fuck yeah! I like that. I really like that. The problem is you have the what's it called? Let me come down here to the compendium. It's multi-shot. Quick draw, that's the one. Okay, quick draw. Initially gives you good fire rate. Yeah, that's good. Okay? It gives you ballistic tip, melee range, and fire rate. Yeah. Kill spree. Yeah. Spray and pray. Yeah. But multi-shot. Bullet damage minus 30%. To shoot one additional projectile. With a shotgun, you have 4. So you take those 4, which are currently doing 400% of bullet damage, and you reduce it by 30%, which takes it down to 280% bullet damage. And then you add an additional 1 projectile, it's 350% bullet damage. You had 400%, now you have 350%. It dramatically reduces your damage because on a standard setup, you go from 100% to 70%. You add another bullet at 70% damage, that's 140%. If you're only firing 1 bullet at once, multi-shot is good. Then you come over here to triple shot, bullet damage minus 40%. Again, if you're shooting 2 shots, you go down to 120% because 60% for each bullet, and then up to 180% for 3 bullets. That works out. That works out fairly well, okay? But when you start out with a whole lot of projectiles, that bullet damage reduction actually doesn't do well. Now, the bullet flower, shooting the spiral of 9 smaller projectiles, that makes up for all of this. And that's really good design to have this thing where it's just like trade-off, bigger trade-off, bonus. I like that. I like having upgrades that work this way. Think about this sort of stuff. When you're building a game, when you're building your upgrades, you have to think about the way that everything fits together. Psych trail kind of sucks. I don't like this. I never use it. But you have a trail of particles that inflict psychosis. Okay? So they take 15% more damage. They move 20% slower. Okay, so you leave a trail that makes the enemy weaker. But you also gain a bonus to movement speed, and you lose fire rate a little bit. Now on the top track, you have a trail, it lasts 50% longer, they move 30% slower, take 25% more damage, so it's just more of the same. Then you have, they move even slower, they take even more damage, and their experience floats towards you. And your psych trail emits a stream of vision circles. Now, here's the thing. Number 1, they float their experience towards you. That's valuable. Number 2, they expand your vision. That's valuable. Do you have anything that depends on vision circles? This is where this is where Disfigure really shines, is in the way that it has synergy between things. Because when Psych Trail emits a stream of vision circles, that means you have more stuff in your vision. I'll talk about that in a minute when I'm done telling you about Psych Trail. Psych Currents, when you're not shooting, move 20% faster and inflict psychosis on any nearby enemies, also freezing them for a second. 40% slower, 50% more damage. It improves it even more, and now you have an incentive to stop firing for a while. That can be meaningful. Let's look at the bottom track. Bottom track, on death to create a remnant which deals damage. Touching a remnant will make it explode. Touching 4 remnants will fire a colossal blast before shooting. Psych Trail at its top level says, don't fire more often than you have to. It gives you a bonus for not firing constantly, which means if you want Psych Trail to operate at its best capacity, do not use auto fire. I fucking always use auto fire, so no. But more importantly, when we're talking about vision, okay? When we're talking about vision, what you should immediately come back to, I'm going the wrong direction. So much stuff. Radiation on every 6th shot. Damage all enemies revealed in vision by 100% bullet damage. When you reveal enemies with a vision circle, they are affected by radiation. If you can trigger radiation before that vision circle is gone, they will take damage. So this is a synergy between Psych Trail and radiation. Disfigure does a fucking incredible job of this. They do this with so many things, and it works so well. And that, I think, is what really makes this game tremendously valuable. You should absolutely go buy it on Steam. I'll put a link in the description. Now, again, I got it free. I got it free because I picked it up way back in 2024. And there's a DLC where, like, you can give them $5 for the game. I didn't give them $5 for the game. I'm fucking broke. If I got $5 and I can either give it to you for your game that's free, or I can buy another game, I'm gonna buy the other game. I'm sorry, that's just who I am. However, if I get a lot of money all at once, like, it's not uncommon for me to make, well, it's uncommon now. It's not difficult for me when I have a project to be released. It's not difficult for me to make like $10,000 in a day. And the first couple days after I have that, I go back to a lot of the things, especially the things that I got for free. I go back to a lot of the things that I like, and I just go, you get some money, and you get some money, and you get some money, and you get some money. I got friends that are perpetually struggling, and they always have mutual aid requests up on social media. When I get a bunch of money all at once, all those people get some money. All of the people that have games out that I've enjoyed and that I got for free, but you can put money into them, I give them some money. Unless they have fucked me. You know what? Sad Panda Games. The people who made Crush Crush and Blush Blush. I got a bunch of money. And I gave them like $200 in in-game purchases for Crush Crush. And I bought their perpetual license that gives me every game they ever make and every NSFW content patch they ever release for free. So I bought all of that because they happened to have been a game that I was playing when I got a bunch of money. Sad Panda have lost my purchase history. Lost. It's gone. So it's like, I gave them about $300, and they were like, yeah, we don't remember. So it's basically like you never gave us anything. Fuck those people. Fuck them. God, we're way over an hour on this. We're probably going an hour and a half. The single most critical thing in any kind of business, regardless of what business you're in, okay? If you're developing games, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, the single most important thing is never shit on the people who gave you money. You can recover from fucking up and falling over and, like, not delivering for the people who gave you money. But it's like, I mean, way back in the day, there was a guy that I used to do business with. And he paid me to do some writing for him. And then he paid me a few $100s to do a sales page for him. And I did a sales page for him, and he didn't like it. And he said, I want you to do it over again. And I said, okay, I'll do it over again. And I did it over again. And he still didn't like it. And at that point I said, you know, there's one round of changes included on your contract. If you want me to do a second round of changes, you're going to have to pay me again. Not the full amount, but you're going to have to pay me again. And he refused. And we have been kind of locked forever, where I said one round of changes, and he said, well, the first round of changes didn't count, and neither does the second round of changes because you didn't do what I wanted. I said, but I did do what you said. He and I frequently move in the same circles. And I will advertise my services. Well, I don't anymore, but I used to advertise my services and say, here are my services as a writer and copywriter. And he would go, I hired this guy and he didn't do a good job, and we went through a round of changes and he still didn't do a good job. And I would go, hey, we did a round of changes. He needs to pay for the second round of changes. I understand he can't afford the second round of changes, but I gave him a good product. He didn't like it. I gave him another good product. He didn't like it. Two good products, you don't like either of them, you got to pay me. This is a he said, she said situation. Well, it's a he said situation. Fundamentally, what it comes down to is he goes, I didn't get the results that I wanted. I didn't get the product that I expected to get. It's important to clarify. There have been no results. He said, write me a sales page for this product. I wrote him a sales page for this product. He never ran the sales page. He never tried to sell the product. And he said, I don't like the sales page. Do me a different sales page. And I said, well, the different sales page you want is not going to be as good. That sales message is not going to work as well. I don't want to go into too much detail about what it was, because then you'll be able to identify him, although plasterer in Milton Keynes, probably enough information to know who it is. Not a lot of people fit in that description, okay? And I want to be clear, this guy, I love this guy. He is passionate about his work. He is passionate about his field. It's just like plastering. I want to be clear about this. This is a guy who does plaster and lath reconstruction on classical buildings in the UK style. It's like this is early 20th and late 19th century construction. This guy does a very weird niche industry. There's not a lot of people in that. You probably know who it is. If you're at all interested, you know who it is. this tiny little niche industry that he does, okay? He wanted a sales page to sell his services. I gave him a sales page to sell his services. He wasn't happy. I gave him another sales page to sell his services. And fundamentally, I don't know what he expects. I don't know what he wants. He doesn't have a very large market in the first place. But the core thing is, I'm not making this guy happy. I don't think he's a very good client. But the fact is, the number of people who are passionate about this late 19th, early 20th century construction method is tiny. This guy, he loves what he does, and I think that's what really needs to be sold here. He disagrees. He wants to convince everybody this is the right thing to do no matter what your situation is. You should go back to the late 18th, early 20th, late 19th, early 20th century. I'm drunk. You should go back to the methods from the 1890s and 1890s and 1910s. He really wants to catch, from my perspective, he doesn't know who his audience is. He really wants to catch people that have modern houses and their modern houses suck. And he goes, fuck that, you want plaster and lath. Hire me to do plaster and lath. I do the best plaster and lath. Plaster and lath has a specific utility, and that utility is it traps heat. It traps heat really well. It sucks the heat in from the outside and radiates it into the inside. And in a world that isn't burning to death, it's a great fucking thing. So I've been trying to position this guy, this plasterer in Milton Keynes, I've been trying to position him as, you need to maintain the historical construction of the building. And he's like, no, you need to tell them that it's the direction you need to go for the future. Dude, climate change is not a fucking myth, okay? The climate is changing. Construction methods that suck the heat in and seal it away from getting out that's not the future, dude. That's I don't know what to tell you. But he does love his work, and he's very, very good at it. He sent me a YouTube video where he's talking about plaster and lath construction. And I was just watching that video. I was like, what? And he would say things, and I would go, that's not true. And I would go and I would look it up. And once upon a time, when you didn't know what was true, you could look it up on the internet and you could usually find the truth. But, yeah, things are different now. But back then, you could look it up on the internet and what you would find would usually be the truth. So, he would say stuff and I would go, that, really? And I would go and look it up and yeah. This guy is amazing at what he does. He's incredible at what he does. And this is one of the problems that I've seen over and over again with business after business. You know, I had a point when I started with this, and I don't remember what it was. I've seen over and over again with business after business, there are people that are really, really good at what they do and have no fucking clue why anybody would want it. It's very frustrating. You can recover from trying to do a good job for somebody and not. You can recover from them thinking you didn't do a good job if you tried to do a good job and you know what you were doing. This guy tried to trash me on a marketing forum. He said, I hired this guy to do some stuff and he did this shit. And then I told him that's fucked up and he did this shit. And then I told him that's fucked up too. And he said, well, you got to pay me more money. And the entire thread ended up being all of these people going, those are both really good marketing angles. Like the first one is probably the best one you could use. And the second one is like a meaningful compromise. I don't know what you're upset about. And he was like, well, I paid him to do a thing and he didn't do the thing. And everybody's like, he did do the thing. He very much did the thing. And then you told him to do a different thing that wouldn't work. And he did a different thing that might work. And now you're complaining he didn't do the different thing that's not gonna work. Tangent. Disfigure's logo right here. That's very clearly inspired by the Doom logo. The original Doom back in the 90s. And Doom was a great fucking game. And now that I notice that, now that I think about that, I cannot help but consider, does Disfigure feel like Doom? Anyway, you can recover from a client thinking you did a bad job when you actually tried to do a good job. Because when they say you did a bad job, you can just show people the job you did and go, I tried to do a good job. I thought this was a good job. And enough people will think, yeah, that's what a good job looks like, to tell your client, yeah, no, that's a good job. That person did a good job. But the client is always right. When the client says, I wanted you to do this, that's what they wanted you to do. You always have this conflict of interest where clients are saying, I want this result. Okay, here's the thing that will get you this result. But I want you to do this. Those don't go together. I can either do this or I can get you the result. Are you happy with doing this if it doesn't get you the result? Usually the client says no, and it's one of those things, well, sometimes the result the client wants is ridiculous. You know what? There's a thing that I've had, I'm not going to look it up. There's a wallpaper I have out there that I've distributed to a number of people, and they've gone, fuck yeah, I get it, man. And it literally says, clients fucking suck and I hate them. Most clients, when they hire you to do a thing, they don't really understand what they're hiring you to do. Like, particularly when you're an ad manager. If you're an ad manager and they're like, here's $5,000, they expect you to turn around and deliver $20,000. And they go, we gave you $5,000 and we didn't get $20,000. You didn't do your job. You told me to advertise this project. Yes. That project's a piece of shit. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. Nobody's ever going to fucking buy it. I used your $5,000 to run the ads that promote the thing to the people who might want the thing. They don't want the thing because your product's bullshit and it sucks. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that their project's bullshit and it sucks. They get mad about it. Of course, what can you do? Is it relevant information to say I'm doing flamethrower on Nightmare? Okay, this guy's complaining that map 3 on Disfigure is bullshit. Is it relevant information to say I'm doing flamethrower on Nightmare? Yes, it is. Number 1. Flamethrower may Flamethrower probably needs different upgrades. Minigun is a different game. 2. Number 2, lol, I don't play on Nightmare, I have enough trouble on normal. Number 3, experimenting with different builds on lower difficulty levels can be very helpful in approaching higher levels. Back up to number one. Number one, flamethrower probably needs different upgrades. Minigun is a different game. There's a reason it's the most common completed hard difficulty weapon. Number two, lol, I don't play on Nightmare. I have enough trouble on normal. 3, experimenting with different builds on lower difficulty levels can be very helpful in approaching higher levels. I have an impulse that is bad. I have learned over many years to ignore this impulse and not give in to it. Here's the thing. This guy's saying, I'm playing on nightmare mode. My immediate impulse is to say, if you're not good enough for nightmare mode, maybe don't fucking play it. Like, why would you complain that nightmare mode is too hard? What the fuck is wrong with you to play on the highest difficulty level and say, oh, it's too hard? Is there a nice way to say that? Try some of the lower difficulty levels to solidify your build. Is it relevant information to say I'm doing flamethrower on nightmare? Yes. Flamethrower probably needs different upgrades. Minigun is a different game. There's a reason it's the most common completed hard difficulty option. Number two, lol, I don't play on nightmare. I have enough trouble on normal. Try some of the lower difficulty levels to solidify your build. 3, experimenting with difficult. Oh, and that's actually 3 is actually the nice way to say that. The fuck is wrong with you playing on nightmare and going, yeah, this is bullshit? It's a roguelike. A roguelike, by nature, is 25% bullshit. That's going to be hard for me. I like to make games that are no bullshit at all. But the fact of the matter is, the purpose of a roguelite is for half of it to be bullshit. A quarter of it. 25% of it is bullshit. It should suck. 25% of the first level with the first character should be bullshit. And 25% of the remaining levels should also be bullshit. 25% of the character should be bullshit. 25% of the weapon should be bullshit. Well, there's really nothing to the characters. Am I making any sense at this point? Am I saying anything of value at this point? I don't even remember what I was saying like 10 minutes ago. Oh yeah, I was talking about clients. I was talking about people wanting you to do stuff. How did I get on that? Where was I going with that? Back up. Close the loops. Truth Serum, Jason Moffat and the Truth Serum. I do this on purpose, and the reason I do this on purpose is because I am less interested in appearing authoritative as I am in demonstrating that I am being honest. That I actually believe the things that I'm telling you. Are the things that I'm telling you true? largely there is no truth in the stuff that I'm telling you. It's like when I'm talking about game design, there are 8,000 game designs that work, that have an audience, that people will like, that people will enjoy. The important thing is, I honestly believe that certain game design aspects are good and you should do them. And when I get really fucking hammered, I continue to believe that they're good and you should do them. Hey, chat that isn't here because this isn't a stream. Should I end the video now, or should I continue doing the video with another drink? Everybody go into the poll that doesn't exist, because the everybody doesn't exist, and make your vote to see what's gonna happen next. Oh, did you guess? Did you guess the survey says more alcohol? Oh, that's much better. Much better. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I used a very light kind of ginseng and cinnamon with this drink because, and you know, I'll grant you it's another 6 ounces of vodka. So what can you do? But anyway, this is a very long video. We're closing up on 2 hours. And I'm perfectly happy to close up on 2 hours. That's fine. One of the things you have to think about in the design of a game is you have to think about how much of it feels like fun and how much of it feels like a chore. I would like my game to have 20 different weapons. I would like that. I would like there to be 10 weapons, 1 for each character, and 10 weapons, 1 for each level. But what I don't want is, I don't want anybody to feel like I have to collect all the weapons. I don't want anybody to feel like I have to win every level with every weapon. And if they do, I want them to find it fairly easy if that's the thing that they're looking for, but I also want them to find it fairly hard if that's the thing they're looking for. Like, you got 10 levels. The 10 levels, you may not say there's a difficulty to each level, but there is. There's a progression from one level to the next. Each level is at least a little bit harder than the next, which means your first weapon needs to be like butt simple. It needs to be easy to upgrade, easy to understand. It needs to kill shit fairly quickly. Now then you go to level 2. Level 2 should be harder. It should be a level that is hard to defeat with weapon 1, but fairly reasonable to defeat with level 2. Okay, so you've got level 1, weapon 1, those go together. Level 2, weapon 2. Level 2 is a little bit harder. Weapon 2 is a little bit better. If you take weapon 2 back to level 1, it should be fairly simple to complete the level with that weapon. It shouldn't be that hard at all. But if you take weapon 1 to level 2, that should be difficult. There should be an increase in difficulty. So when you take that all the way to its conclusion with level 10, using weapon 1 on level 10 should be really difficult, but possible. And using weapon 10 on level 1 should just be like, yeah, anybody could do that. That's a hard thing to arrange. And on some level, I don't necessarily want my individual levels to be harder, as I want them to be interesting. I want you to see things in level 10 that you haven't seen in the previous levels. But I don't necessarily want those things to be harder. I just want them to be different. And it's kind of similar with the weapons, you know? I want the weapons to be different, but not necessarily easier or harder. It's like if you come down here, the grenade launcher, bullets will explode on contact or after a second. If you balance that right, that's not substantially better than the burst rifle that fires a burst of 3 bullets at once. It's different, but it's not better. And that's a tough thing to manage, is to make different but not better as you move forward in a game. It's like I got this guy on Steam who's saying, I'm using the flamethrower on Nightmare. He's using the last weapon on the last map on Nightmare difficulty. I should try this. I should see how hard this is. Here, let's see what we got. Flamethrower on Nightmare. What do you do with the flamethrower on Nightmare? What is the correct thing to do? Flashbangs, I don't need those. Delete. Reroll. Reroll. I do need slowed projectiles, because slowed projectiles gives me access to projectile deflection and meet your maker. So we'll do that. I don't know how well I'm going to do on this. Man, I don't have a whole lot of range here. Bulk rounds, that's very much something that I want. Damage rate, quick draw. Do I want quick draw or bulk rounds? I definitely don't want guided missile. I should delete that. Bulk rounds does more damage. Quick draw does damage faster. Bulk rounds... Okay, so the trade-off with power and speed is that when you're working with very, very powerful enemies, you need more damage. But when you're working with a lot of enemies, you need speed. I'm currently working with a lot of weak enemies, so quick draw is the correct choice early game. Blight Decay, I do not need Blight Decay. Callisto Current, I also do not need Callisto Current. But Gleam, you know what? Circle vision, size, movement, speed. It's Not that big a deal, but it is a deal. Let's go with it. Now, as you can see, I've already got, less than a minute in, I've got somebody shooting projectiles at me. Callisto Current, fuck that shit, delete. Glow. Doesn't actually improve anything. Light target enemies revealed in vision take 25% more damage. I don't care, reroll. Radiation. You know, radiation is not that useful late game. So I gotta think late game on this. Fuck. Flamethrower damage rate plus 15%. Okay. That's something. I've got something. Not happy with the result of those reloads. Level 6. Wind up strike. Fuck that shit. Projectile bottleneck. That gets me closer to Meet Your Maker. And Meet Your Maker is good. I want Meet Your Maker. I feel like if you've got Flamethrower, you should also invest in Burn. Like, typically I invest in Singularity, but I think Burn is the correct thing to invest in. Okay, Shrapnel, Swiftness, Movement. Swiftness is important because of this bottom tier. Magnetism, Magnetic Rounds, Light Magnet. Stab snares, multi-shot. First of all, stab snares, delete that shit. Glow, circle vision, movement speed. Those are really not that useful. Multi-shot, shoot an additional projectile. What does that mean with a flamethrower? Reroll. Ballistic tip, range and damage rate. Okay, I like that. I'm not really liking the flamethrower. The flamethrower is, it has issues. Guided laser, fuck that. Reroll. 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 God damn it. I guess glow. I'm not killing fast enough to, okay. Choose weapon perk. Kindling. Sear, the damage rate is plus 35%. Kindling, flamethrower damage 50%. Embers. Fire and blaze damage. You know what? Fuck it. I'm taking embers. Yeah, I am actually doing the 147 thing because I've never played Flamethrower before. I'm not really doing the... Now you can see there the enemy dunked projectiles when it died. This is the thing the guy keeps complaining about, is dumping projectiles in your face when things die. I mean, is this really an issue? Ow! Damn it! My good genes! Reroll. Not wildfire. Not sprint. Not ready. God damn it. So it's a thing that I was talking about where you're moving in any direction other than forward and you've got the cone vision active. Blind shot? Fuck that shit. Multi-shot. You know what? Yeah. Okay, it gives me a spread. That works. Damn it. Yeah, that's kind of bullshit. I have to agree, that is kind of bullshit. However, that's just the nature of this. It's the nature of this kind of game. That's how these games work, you know? It's I feel this is very important. I feel like that was my fault. I had cone vision active, and I ran into something I couldn't see. That was me. I didn't need to have cone vision active. I could have had circle vision active and seen the thing that I was running into that I shouldn't have run into. Kirkland vodka is not good. I don't know how to explain it. I typically get Tito's. It's just that I went to Costco and I needed vodka, and I actually looked at the price for Tito's and it was $50 fucking dollars. Yeah, no, I'm not spending $50 on a liter and a half of vodka. I'm gonna buy the Kirkland version, which is only like $30. It's $25 and some change. Yeah, so I get twice as much vodka, fundamentally. Or I get the same amount of vodka for half price. It's not as good. Is Tito's twice as good? No. No, it's not twice as good. It's... How much more would I pay for Tito's as opposed to this? %, I think. Yeah, I would pay... I would pay $32 for this. Not 50. I would not pay 50. I would pay 32. Not 35. 32. Would it be 32? 15% of 25. That's 25% of 15, which is 50% of 7.5, which is 3.75, which is 28.75. So, yeah, a little more than that. Well, no, I'm thinking in terms of the 51%. I'm thinking in terms of the $50. I'm thinking of a 50% discount. I would expect a 35% discount. And a 35% discount would be about twice as much. So it would be about... So 30% over 25 would be about 7.5, which would be $32.50. Yeah. Okay. everything is relative. Everything fits in different directions. These long videos are frequently the least interesting, but the most instructive. I don't know how long I'm going to need to leave this sitting in the creator studio before I pull the trigger and say, yeah, I've written a description that matters. I wonder why some belches are really, really loud and long, and others are very short and quiet. I mean, I understand the mechanics of it, but why are those the mechanics of it? I like the loud and long ones. I enjoy them. I think belching is a tremendous amount of fun. Like, when I am belching, I think it's awesome, and when I hear somebody else belch, I'm like, yeah, it's fucking cool. Because I am weird. Anyway. God, we're over 2 hours. So the thing I've been thinking about with Filthy Pervert Stole My Panties is I want to fix this problem. Let me kind of jump in here. This problem where there are 33 different upgrades. I want to solve this by having you pick 10 different upgrades out of the options. I want you to build a deck out of the upgrades. I want you to have, maybe half of these. I want you to be able to, like, select a number of these upgrades that are going to be available in the current run. And then I want you to do that run only having those upgrades. So on some level, I want you to go, oh man, I should have added that one upgrade in there. And with experience, you learn which upgrades to add to different levels. You know what I think I need is to, I think I need to design a way that each level is different from the others. And then add a couple of available upgrades that specifically address the way that this level is different. That feels like a fairly good option. So each level has a weapon on it that you need to find, and then it joins your collection of weapons. And it also has a passive option that you need to find, so it joins your collection of passives. And there are also there's a static collection. Because we can't have you go in there with one weapon and nothing else. I feel like you should have 10 basic passives, or basic non-weapons, or basic additional weapons, depending on how you look at it. Disfigure has a total of 53 upgrades. Now I've been thinking in terms of 20 and 20. And then you combine one of the 20 weapons with one of the 20 passives. And each weapon combines with 3 passives. So you've got an additional 60 weapons. And when you combine that with the original 20 weapons and the 20 passives, it comes up to a total of 100 upgrades. And out of those 100 upgrades, you can only put so many of them into your quote-unquote deck. Yeah, let's think this over a little bit. The numbers definitely add up. I like the numbers. I like the idea of 100. What have I got going on my Clip Studio profile? Nothing. Nothing meaningful at all. I've been jonesing to do art. I feel like I should be doing art. Why is this taking so long? Preparing, checking for updates. All right, no updates, no updates, no updates. Yep, all done. Okay, so. If we start out, I put on my little glove here. So if we start out with the fundamental idea of you have these 10 initial options, and then you have these 10 options that you find, and then down here, down along this line, you have your you have your 20 So what you have is for each of these, you have like, there's 1, 2, 3 options. I think it needs to go the other way. I think you need to have one option in the base game. It's just one option in the base game. So you can like, here is the weapon you can create straight out of the gate. Once you collect this item, you can combine that item with this weapon to create a new weapon. But then there are two more later on that you can find, which will combine and create new weapons. And then that ends up being So then you've got your 10 weapons that are actually like what you start with, and then you've got the 10 weapons that you find. And I think the 10 weapons that you find, you have to have 2 that you start with, and then 1 in the last collection. I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense here. So here's the thing that I'm thinking, okay? A weapon that you start with can combine with a passive that you start with to create a second weapon. Whereas a weapon that you find can combine with 2 passives that you start with to create 2 additional weapons. Meanwhile, there are passives you can find that combine with your initial weapons to make 2 weapons, 2 upgrade weapons, whereas on an upgrade weapon, there's only 1 that combines with it. It's just one of those situations where you look at the world and something seems obvious. Like why this is a good thing and why this matters. But when you go to articulate it, when you go to say this is why this matters and why this is important, it's really not obvious. A weapon that you start with and a passive that you start with can create 1 weapon. But a weapon that you find and a passive that you start with can create 2 weapons. Which makes the weapons that you find slightly more valuable. Similarly, the passives that you find can create 2 more weapons with a weapon that you start with, which makes them slightly more valuable. And then you have this cross-section of the passives that you find and the weapons that you find, and those are an even more valuable situation. So that's the best one. These are better ones. This one's good. This one's good. These are better. That one's the real prize. Found passive, found weapon. And there's only 1 of those. These guys here would be roughly equivalent, but slightly different. This one in particular. level 10 and character 10. That combination, the one where you have unlocked it all the way at the end, that should be the best one. But it can't be like worlds in a way the best one. As you get further along and you've required people to work harder and harder to improve, the improvements need to become smaller. Because, I mean, it's fundamentally, it's the idea of, in the initial stages, you make big moves that make a big difference. And in the later stages, you make small moves that make a small difference. You have to kind of decrease how meaningful your upgrades are as the upgrades become harder and harder to get. But you also need to make them more and more important, which is not easy. It's not easy at all. Designing upgrades for a game is hard. It's a very hard thing to do, and on top of that, it's a thing that nobody outside of game design needs to do. Which is a big flashing red neon sign to let people know that game development is not a smaller, simpler subset of software development. It is a complex and difficult specialty of software development. It's hard. You have questions to answer that no other discipline needs answers to these questions. They're not meaningful. At no point in the development of Microsoft Excel did anybody at Microsoft say, are the advanced functions sufficiently advanced to be worth using, but not so advanced that the people using intermediate functions can't use them? Nobody ever asked that. Although, you know what we did ask? I'll tell you what. I was not on the Internet Explorer team, okay? But I was at Microsoft while the Internet Explorer team was working on IE4. And one of the big questions that they went back and forth about, and I watched them do this in great detail, was the question of, how do you know whether a directive is illegal or malformed? Like, let's say you have a color specification for a web page. We all know that 000000 is black and FFFFFF is white. Well, if we do web development anyway. So, the specification identifies, it says, okay, so 000 is black and FFF is white, because if the two digits, these are hexadecimal digits, so they could be letters, if the two digits are the same, you can just use the 1. But you have to do that with all three numbers. So if you go if you go Octothorpe DDD, that means DD, DD, DD. Or more usefully, if you go Octothorpe ABC, that means Octothorpe AA, BB, CC. Well, what if you do Octothorpe ABCD? What does that mean? The Internet Explorer team went back and forth on the internal mailing list for weeks about this question, arguing vociferously for, number one, Octothorpe ABCD is illegal. You cannot do that. Option number two, Octothorpe ABCD is malformed. So the person typing it either means AA, BB, CC, or they mean AB, CC, DD, or they mean AA, BB, CD. It means one of those things. The person who typed it means one of those things. There are 4 different possibilities for what they could mean. Now, if it's illegal, we have to ignore it, which means it's like it isn't there at all. But if it's malformed, we can, if we choose, try to figure out what they meant. They went back and forth for so long about this, discussing what it could and couldn't and did and didn't mean. And in the end, what they came out with was, well, to be perfectly honest, a mess. It is an absolute fucking mess. But there's a whole system of complex rules around what Internet Explorer 4 thinks is a meaningful color designation. It tries. It tries very hard. It works very hard to figure out what the fuck did you mean by this shit that isn't even correct. Opera and Firefox both look at Octothorpe ABCD, or at least they used to. They both look at it and go, yeah, you can't do that. And they default to whatever the previous default was. Only Microsoft said, what does the user mean? And try to figure it out. That's what I loved about working at Microsoft when I did. It's been 15 years. They're a different company. It's a different world. They're a different company. Back when I was working at Microsoft, they tried so hard to do what the user wanted them to do. But like every corporation, over time, they decided, we don't care what the customer wants. We care what we want. This is what a conflict of interest means. It means the customer wants this, we want that. We have to pick which one we do. 15 years ago, well, more accurately, 18 years ago, Microsoft chose what the customer wanted. Even if the customer didn't know they wanted it, we chose what the customer actually wanted and not what the customer said they wanted. Now Microsoft chooses whatever makes them the most money. I wrestle with this. For many years, whenever Microsoft chose to do something, I would be like, we did this. We did this. I had an identification. I had a belief. I believe the same things that Microsoft does. Microsoft has my best interest in mind. Microsoft has the user's best interest in mind. We have the same priorities. We want the same things. For many years, I said, Microsoft wants what I want. Microsoft was, in my opinion, a corporation that wanted the same thing I, a single software developer, wanted. And I was very happy with that. And now, I don't fucking know, man. I just don't fucking know. I mean, when Bill was in charge and when Steve was in charge, I think we were simpatico, man. We understood. We wanted the same things. And now it's, who is it? Vivek? Who is the guy in charge of Microsoft right now? He's an Indian dude, I think. Who's the CEO of CEO of Microsoft? Satya Nadella. Satya Nadella, that's the guy. He's an Indian guy. I don't have a problem with Indian guys. I don't think Satya Nadella has the same priorities and the same goals, pardon me, as Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer did. And I'm not happy about that. Because I feel like he should have the same goals because they were good goals. Bill Gates had good goals. Steve Ballmer had good goals. Satya Nadella is like money. I don't feel like he has good goals. I don't feel like he's reaching for good goals. I don't feel like he wants good things or like he cares about you as a human being. What's Satya Nadella's? What's his background? Control-Shift-T. Who is Satya Nadella? Before becoming CEO, is the Vice President of Microsoft's Cloud and Enterprise Group. Oh my God. Sure, Hyderabad. I've been there. That's... Electrical engineer, that's a bad sign. MS in computer science. I'm going to be blunt here, okay? I'm going to be very blunt about this, all right? Let me put this on the screen. An MS in computer science. Here's something a lot of people don't know about a master's degree. You see here where it's a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering? And then there's an MS in computer science. You can get any bachelor's degree at all and use it to qualify for a master's degree. Similarly, here's the problem. MBA. Ooh, it's Sun Microsystems? Oh my God. Ugh. Succeeding Steve Ballmer. Let's look at Steve Ballmer. I don't know Steve Ballmer's background. He's a cool guy. Fun story. Fun story. When I worked at Microsoft, I spent a substantial amount of time at Building 7. One of the things that I noticed was at Building 7, Steve Ballmer was frequently there. That is the systems building. That's where like Windows is developed. That's where DirectX is developed. That's where like the core critical Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Office, Microsoft DirectX, these things are developed right there in Building 7. And I think I was wrong there. I think Microsoft DirectX may not have been handled at Building 7. I don't recall directly whether it was in the systems division or in the mobile and entertainment division. So I may be wrong about DirectX being handled in Building 7. But I know that the core Windows and Office were handled there. Anyway, I found while working at Building 7 that Steve Ballmer had a fairly regular schedule. And that fairly regular schedule involved, I don't remember the specifics, but he would get out of the elevator in a particular building on a particular floor around 12:30 every day. Microsoft has a fairly reliable shuttle system. So what I did was I would take the shuttle to that building around noon. And I would just kind of fuck around and not do anything near the elevators until Steve Ballmer came off them. And when he came off them, I would say, "Hey, Steve." And he would say, "Hey," and go on about his business. It's Steve fucking Ballmer. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know what I do. Who is this fucking rando? Just a guy working at Microsoft, that's all. Expressing some familiarity. "Hey, Steve. Hey, how's it going?" And he would go on about his business. And one day, he was bringing a bunch of Japanese mobile developers into the mobile and entertainment division. And a bunch of people were like, "Yeah, I want to be involved in this. I want to be involved. I want to blah, blah, blah. Hey, how's it going? Hey, and everybody was going down for that. I went down in the elevator about 5 minutes before that was supposed to happen, and he was leading the Japanese dudes into building 117, I think it was. Might have been 118. I was working in 118. No, it was 117 because I was working in 118. I had to leave and go to the other building. So I walked out of building 118, I walked over to building 117, and in between them, Steve had all of these like high-level Japanese mobile developers are standing around, and I went past and I go, hey, Steve. And it was always, hey, man. And because I had been going to building 7 over and over again for months, he acted like he saw me all the time because he did. So everybody he was talking to, all of the people that were like, let me insert myself into this thing right here, right now, they all saw me walk past and just casually go, hey, Steve. And Steve Ballmer casually go, hey, man. Like we knew each other. Because we kind of did. I said, hey, Steve, all the time. He said, hey, man, all the time. Political horse shit like that gets you farther in your career than anything else. It really does. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to take a look at where Steve Ballmer came from. Who is Steve Ballmer? What's he do? Born in Detroit, Michigan, first generation college student at Harvard. He was hired directly by Bill Gates. Look at this shit. Yeah. Steve Ballmer joined Microsoft in 1980. First business manager hired by Gates. Headed several Microsoft divisions. What's his education? Harvard University. Bachelor of Arts in Applied Mathematics and Economics. Product manager at Procter & Gamble. After briefly trying to write screenplays in Hollywood, I swear to God, every computer guy is a frustrated artist. Attended the Stanford Graduate School of Business, but dropped out in 1980 to join Microsoft. MBAs are bullshit, man. I don't know, I don't know what leads people to think they understand business with, actually it's... An MBA tells you that you understand business, but it's not reality. Whenever you take an MBA and you put them in charge of a business, they fuck it up. They make a lot of money, but the business is bullshit and sucks, and it dies. You need to run a business to understand how business works. Fucking hell. It's August. It's late August. I started my first business In June of 1986, you can skip this if you've already heard the story, but on the other hand, if you have already heard the story, listen and see if it matches. That's how you catch liars. That's how you catch people who are full of shit, is to watch and listen when they tell you the same story they've already told you. And if it's different, you have a liar. I've had 12 ounces of rum and a beer. I'm incapable of lying effectively. I have to tell you the truth. If you understand anything, you know, once you've had a certain amount of alcohol, you can't fucking lie. You can't keep it straight. It doesn't work. So, when I started my business in 1986, my first business, I act like it's the same business, but it's changed so many times. It has the same name, but it's not the same business. Anyway, when I started my business in 1986, I had not been to university yet. And I learned from having a business and running a business that an awful lot of what gets said in university simply doesn't pan out in reality. If you do an MBA and you don't understand that, you're going to fuck up any business you run. You're going to fuck it up so tremendously, so dramatically, that people will take notice. Of course, you won't notice. If you lie, cheat, and steal, you will make a buttload of money if you do it right. And you won't even notice when nobody wants to do business with you anymore. I wonder how much of that is my problem. I wrote books for the pickup artist community, and they're all shitheads. I wrote sales pages for the internet marketing community, and they're all shitheads. Is this karma? I don't know. God, 2 hours and 43 minutes. I'm over. I just looked up at the OBS timer. 2 hours and 43 minutes. Almost 44. What have I talked about? I've had way too much to drink. I don't fucking remember. You know, every time you get blackout drunk, it's easier to get blackout drunk. I'm lucid now. I understand what I'm talking about now, but if I go to sleep, when I wake up, will I remember any of this? I don't know. It's interesting. I'm frequently concerned with how COVID has fucked with my brain. But I'm rarely concerned with how alcohol has fucked with my brain. And chances are very good alcohol has fucked with my brain way more than COVID ever did. It's probably because COVID isn't fun and alcohol is. I keep trying to put meaningful information into my videos that is actually worth having, that is actually worth listening to. And really what I have is, you're in the same room with some guy. That's what it is. It's you're in the room with some guy who's gotten really drunk and is like talking about stuff. Is it good stuff? Who fucking knows? You know, fundamentally, I want it to be good stuff. And I try for it to be good stuff. It's just like, fucking hell, man. It is what it is. Come on, I need to... I need to resize this window so it actually fits on my screen that I actually use. There we go. There. That's the way. Yeah. That's the way. I like it. I love KC and the Sunshine Band. The only group I love more than KC and the Sunshine Band is the Bay City Rollers. Y'all know the Bay City Rollers? Holy shit, man. Check them out. I fucking love them. Because I am a child of the 70s. Anyway. We're closing up on 3 hours. I don't have anything meaningful to say. I hope you've gotten something meaningful out of what I've said. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And, okay, bye.